Alright, so I didn't film putting the engine in because it was 9 o'clock by the time we were done. It was pretty dark. And I didn't film putting the head on, but basically we just kind of slipped it in. It came out, or the engine went in the same way it came out. Went relatively smooth, aside from the fact that when I was putting the clutch fork pivot ball back in, because you have to remove it to take the washer off and then put it back in, well, this little guy broke it off. I couldn't believe it. And so then I had to race to get another one, and then I thought I could just get it out easily because it threaded right in, but lo and behold, nope, that wasn't going to happen. So tried using the easy out, wouldn't come out. Tried using the weld the nut on technique, wasn't having it. I tried like 35 nuts and that just kept coming right off the bolt. So eventually, finally I had to drill it out, and because I thought it would come out easily with an easy out, I didn't get exactly on center. I was off a smidge, so I think I was off maybe like 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch, but I mean the fork kind of floats. It wasn't like I was way off, so I don't think it'd be a problem. But while I was trying to get the bolt end out, I had to drill it, and then I went to tap it. So as I was tapping it, the tap broke off because the little piece of bolt came loose at the end, and then I had to get that out, and finally I got the hole tapped and clear, and the clutch fork pivot ball in, which was kind of a nightmare. I think it probably took me, to go get the part, come back and put it in, I think it took me maybe 3.5 hours. And at that point it was 7 o'clock, so it's raining today, and I knew it was going to rain today, so I wanted to get this engine in before it started raining, because I wanted to get the head on before all the condensation and stuff hit the mating surface here and started to rust it. Which I came home today and I looked at it, and it was already rusting, and it was covered in dew from the humidity out. So I had to clean that all off, clean the head off, which was in a box, so I didn't really have too much problems with that. I just had to get the oil off that it was covered in, and some crap that was stuck on it. And then we slid it in. So that's where I'm at now. I gotta put the bolts in, so I gotta lubricate them up a little bit. I got a can full of some water, so, well, not water, some oil. So we're gonna lubricate those, and then we're gonna put them in and torque them down. So here is the torque spec and the procedure. I'll put that up on okay. So torque the bolts to 52 foot-pounds, then you're going to back them off 360 degrees. Then you're going to torque them to 77 foot-pounds. You probably can't read this. Then you're going to recheck all bolts at 77 foot-pounds, and then you're going to tighten all bolts an additional quarter turn or 90 degrees. So you pretty much just start in the center and you work your way out in a clockwise fashion. So I got to get these all in and torque them to 52 first. So I'll prop you up right there, which might be in the way eventually, but it could be all right for now. I'm gonna get my torque wrench. All right, so I got all new head bolts. I did not go with studs or anything of that nature because this thing has been so expensive to begin with. If I need them, I'll get them later. I don't intend on really doing high horsepower, so I don't think I gotta worry too much about it at the moment. So put that there, extra glove for when my hands is all oily. There. place to put anything under here right now. Right there. 1/2 inch or 18 millimeter socket. I should have put a little bit more oil in my little cup there. But I won't make you watch all this, so I'll just do a fast forward. Well, I must say that if I did not have the other truck with this engine in it, I would not know where any of this wiring went. It's kind of a lot here. So I just kind of been plugging away at it all day. I got the computer mounted there. Just kind of stringing the harness back up on the side of the engine and putting some brackets and stuff back on. I still have to torque down this intake plate here. I just kind of got this on there, the grid heater on there, a piece of cardboard under to keep stuff from getting in there. So I got all the push rods back in. So you remember, you got to push them back up through the cowl there and take the little grommet out. And I'm going to torque all these bolts down to 18 foot-pounds, and I think they're 10 millimeter bolts, or 10 millimeter bolt heads. So yeah, so I'm waiting for some new injector lines to come, and I don't necessarily want to use the original injectors, not the original ones, but the ones that were in here when I bought it. I guess I was told they were brand new, but they're 100 horsepower injectors, and I don't necessarily want to go with 100 horsepower injectors because I don't really want the smoke and all that stuff, and I think it still just has the stock turbo on it. So I'm debating on what I'm going to do, if I'm going to go back to stock, if I'm just going to change the injector tips, if I'm going to get different bodies and put some new tips on that, because that's an option too. So yeah, so I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do about that. Yeah, I guess, I mean, high horsepower and everything's all nice and good, but it's not something I'm really interested in, because there seems to be just a lot of headaches with it, like tuning and all that other stuff. But I guess I could tune it and put the bigger injectors in, but I mean, I don't know. We'll see how it goes when we get there, but I do think I'm going to put the bigger ones in, at least just to get it running and broken in, so I can kind of move it around and it's not like condemned to sit here. Because, like I said, I don't exactly know what the end outcome is going to be, but anywho. So, I got all the push rods in, and I'm going to torque all these bolts down. I'll probably start in the middle right there and just kind of stagger back and forth and work my way to the outside. So torque these to 18 foot-pounds. If you have the newer style harness here that has the little bolts right there, I believe those are 11 inch-pounds for those. And then I would have to imagine that the valve cover is going to be 18 foot-pounds as well, because it's the same bolts. So anyway, I'll started on that. Yeah, I will say that, I mean, kind of looking at this wiring, it's definitely a lot of wiring, and trying to figure out exactly how it was run and which one was run. I'm getting it, but it's just a little tricky figuring it out. I mean, but I do have the other one, so that works out to my benefit. I'm probably going to change the air conditioning lines, just because, I mean, it's been open to the elements for a couple years apparently. They got some dirt and stuff in there, and I don't really want to deal with it, so I'm just going to change probably the two lines, and then the was that the evaporator core or something like that, and I think the condenser is garbage. We'll come look over here. I mean, it's all kind of tweaked. It was sitting back here. Apparently, since it was taken apart, and it got snowed on a couple of times, got some dings in the front there. So, I mean, I don't think they're that expensive, actually. You know what? It looks like there's a hole right in the tube there. So I'm just gonna swap this out too, obviously. I'll have to get an exhaust. The compressor appears to be not in very good condition, so I'll probably get a new compressor too, rather than try to use this guy. I might be able to clean. No, I'm not even gonna mess with it. It's all the crap inside. So I ain't gonna mess with that either. I'll probably put it on just so I can run the accessory drive with it, and I don't have to reroute it without the air conditioner. So I'll put it on there just to get it kind of moving around again. I will need a new alternator bracket because I've got a little crack right there. Probably can't see very well, but there is one. And yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do. Well, so I'm going to put the exhaust manifold on. Here's the gasket number that I'm using. Those are the gaskets on there. Put some never sees on all the threads of the bolts, and they just kind of thread into the gasket to hold them on. It holds the bolts on too. So I got all the top ones in there. I'll line up the bottom ones once I get it in place. So these are all 13 millimeter heads, and you torque them to 32 foot-pounds. So the torque spec on this is 32 foot-pounds. They are lubricated, so I'm just gonna go 30. You're gonna start back here, and we're gonna go clockwise. Start in the middle and kind of work your way out. I guess it probably doesn't matter if you're in the front one or the rear one. I'm gonna go in the rear here because there's just a bigger mass to it. So I'm gonna torque this one first, and then I'm gonna go clockwise this way. I guess you might be able to start here, or at least on the bottom. If you're gonna start there, start at the bottom. That way you go that one, and you don't kind of skip one like I just did. I usually go around them a couple of times because you get the weight hanging off of it, and And once you tighten up these, sometimes it can loosen up other ones. That's why you notice when I torque things, I'll do it a couple of times. All right. There's that. Those are on. I gotta get a hose clamp for the bottom of the drain hose. And you should be good to go. At least with the turbo. Somewhat. Yeah, so there's that. I got an exhaust coming. You gotta put the injectors in. I got a lot of this side together. I'm not gonna show you how all the wiring goes because it's kind of a problem child, but it's working. I got it in there. It was a little bit more complicated doing this because it's got this extra wiring, so it's got all this extra stuff because there's a Banks 6-gun programmer in here, and this is the extra stuff. Basically that kind of overlays over the top of everything, and it plugs into all the sensors, and then it kind of piggybacks into the computer. So it basically, it's another computer on top of the computer, and it kind of added a whole bunch of extra wiring. It's like I didn't really get what the deal was with all that. It's like, why is there all this stuff in here? And then I started taking it off, and I'm just gonna go with the stock wiring and remove that. Person I got it from said that they installed it, but it didn't seem to make any difference, so they don't know if it was working. It has a speed loader hooked to it, which I guess monitors EGR temperature, and it keeps the engine running at a safe level so you don't kind of burn up your engine. But he never had the pyrometer hooked up, or the pyrometer gauge or pyrometer sensor hooked up, so I don't know if it didn't sense the temperature, so it never actually made it turn on because that was hooked to it, or what the deal was. But anyway, so that's where I'm at with this. I guess I gotta get another hose clamp for the bottom of that drain. I'll probably pull this off. I wanted to kind of needle scale around here where the frame meets the spring, and clean it up and then kind of get the rust out of there. I might have shot myself in the foot a little bit by putting this turbo on, but it is what it is. I think I can get around it. I got most of the stuff on the side done, so I really just have to get what's on top, and I think I can kind of come in sideways and get that and kind of paint it up. There is an issue with the line that runs up here, the hard line. I guess you got a couple of lines that go in there. The automatic has a T in it, so it goes over to the heat exchanger on the other side, but this one doesn't have a T because it's a manual. It doesn't have that heat exchanger, so this just goes straight up into the heater core. So it starts off as a 3/4 hose coming off the engine, and it necks down to 5/8 or something like that. I don't know where I'm going to get this except for like the dealership, but I've seen a lot of people are having, I mean, maybe not a lot of people, but it's that this line is problematic because it rusts out and it starts leaking, and it's right. What is it? It sits like right above the turbo there, and it just kind of cooks. And I was on PureDiesel.com, Pure Diesel Products, and somebody makes I think full send diesel or something like that, makes a stainless braided line that goes into there, and it starts off, they just have a T here, and it goes down to a -10 fitting off of a 90, and then it comes out and then over to a barbed hose, and it looks like it comes up and it kind of runs around here, and it might run behind this. I don't know exactly what it hooks to. Looks like it runs behind this, and then it kind of tucks up like right into the bottom of this. I don't know. I mean, right here it looks like it's gonna get real close to that line there. But what I'm thinking of doing is running it a little bit differently. I'm thinking of just, because I mean, what they want? They wanted like $140 or something like that for just the lower line. And it's like, I can make that. I've done it before. It's not that difficult to put them together, and just the amount of money, that's kind of crazy. I mean, I understand you have to make a profit and business is business, but I'm not going to pay them prices. Unfortunately, I damaged this fitting when I was painting this and putting it back on the block. I ended up dropping this bracket, and it just bent that fitting over. So I bought this fitting new, and this fitting was $88, which is sort of ridiculous in itself. But I figured I was just going to get the hard lines, and I didn't think they were going to be kind of crazy expensive. But I mean, one, they're proven to be difficult to find, and two, I think they're actually kind of pricey. So I kind of wish I didn't buy that. And I wish I knew then what I know now, because instead of buying that, I would have just made the line, because I got to replace that anyway. Unless I use that and I just come up with a regular rubber hose over to there. Like I said, I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do it. Let me say, they run kind of hard lines up and around those manifolds here. I might just kind of make a bracket and kind of bring it to the side and come like straight up and then straight over into it, and maybe just make a bracket that comes off of the this cover here. So just make a tab that comes over there and a tab that comes over here, maybe run it up and then hook it right to that and then straight back. And then that'll kind of alleviate my running it underneath the under the turbo and all that stuff, and between the exhaust manifolds where it's going to get hot and kind of cook it. So that's what I'm kind of thinking. But I mean, if you wanted to buy something like that, I mean, it looks like a nice product. It's just not something I'm interested in spending that much money on. But they make a top line too that kind of removes this, and it comes up and it kind of dresses it up a little bit. But I mean, it looks nice, but to get the top line and the bottom line, it's I think $250, and like I say, I don't want to pay that. That's up there. So anywho, so I guess I gotta get an oil filter still. Hook up the ground line on this side and the ground line on this side. Kind of play with the wiring a little bit. Mainly what I have left, like I said, I don't have too much left. I gotta put the fuel filter housing on. I gotta run all the lines, and I gotta put the high pressure pump on. I got all the lines. I got all new lines from the high pressure pump all the way to the injectors, new crossover tubes and everything. So I'm gonna stick the injectors in that I have, and we'll go with those for a little bit and get it running and such. And then I gotta, like I say, mess with this and finish up the wiring, put the fan on, the radiator, intercooler, and that stuff. And then I gotta rework this top thing because it's all kind of ruined. So I'm not exactly sure I'm gonna do that. Maybe I'll get some new nut certs or something, or put a new plate down here. Maybe I can weld a new plate on there and put some nut certs or something in there. So anyway, that's where I'm at for now.